India has been an active participant in the United Nations ever since 1945. As a founding member of the UN, India has consistently supported the aims and objectives of the United Nations.
It's a hard nut, but hard nuts can be cracked. One of the developments this time, in fact, has been a very explicit recognition by President Biden of the need to actually reform the UN.
It's also worked towards UN goals like international peace and security and the protection of human rights. What's India's relationship with the United Nations? Why is the UN beneficial for India? And is a permanent UN seat in sight for India? These are the core questions. Hello and welcome to The Core Questions. What's India's relationship with the United Nations? For starters, India has been one of the largest contributors of troops and police personnel to the UN. As of 2021, India has contributed over 200,000 peacekeepers to the United Nations, making India one of the largest troop-contributing countries to the UN globally. India is also a very vocal advocate for the UN's peacekeeping missions and has emphasized the importance of these missions in maintaining international peace and security. The other thing that defines India's relationship with the UN deals with the protection of human rights. India has been a strong advocate for the protection of the rights of women and children and has played a leading role in the UN's efforts to address violence against women and girls. India has also been active in the UN's efforts to promote the rights of people with disabilities and has advocated for the inclusion of people with disabilities in all aspects of society. To add to this, India has also played a leading role in the United Nations efforts to address climate change. So much so that in 2015, India was a key player in the negotiation of the Paris Agreement on climate change, which aims to limit global temperature increases and encourages countries to reduce their carbon emissions. In fact, India has gone one step further on following through on the mandates of the Paris Agreement, with the Indian cabinet having recently approved PM Modi's 5 climate targets, nicknamed the Panchamrit strategy, looking at a non-fossil energy capacity, renewable energy use, reducing carbon emissions and carbon intensity, and achieving net zero by 2070. According to ancient Indian Hindu epic Mahabharata, Panchamrit refers to 5 Ayurvedic elements: milk, honey, curd, sugar, and ghee for good health. Perhaps the most significant thing that you may not even be aware of about the India-UN relationship is that India is one of the world's largest financial contributors to the United Nations. India gives the UN over $40 million each and every year, which helps support the UN's various activities, including peacekeeping operations, humanitarian assistance, and the promotion of human rights. Which brings me to my next point. If India is doing so much for the United Nations, why isn't it a permanent member? The fact is that India is more than qualified to have a permanent seat at the United Nations, but faces resistance from the 5 permanent members: China, France, the Russian Federation, the United Kingdom, and the United States of America. Though the USA has recently endorsed India, it has not done so in the past. And permanent members might only be supporting India because they very well know that China will veto India's candidacy. The other thing is that the UN Charter rules would need to be rewritten to support new nations becoming permanent members. This is likely a long process with many players involved, which, as a result, delays India getting a permanent seat.
One of the developments this time, in fact, has been a very explicit recognition by President Biden of the need to actually reform the UN, which is not a small development. But we need to get, because we all know why reform has been blocked for so many years. So I think it's important to keep up the pressure. There is global sentiment out there.
Additionally, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar has already declared India's candidature as a non-permanent member of the UN Security Council for the 2028 to 29 term. So, if not a permanent seat, is India getting any return on investment from the UN? Keep in mind, the United Nations is one of the world's largest international organizations made up of 193 member countries. It would be non-strategic for India to simply quit the UN. And though the United Nations has faced significant financial challenges in recent years due to multiple member states falling behind on their financial obligations to the organization, it still remains relevant because it serves as a platform for worldwide cooperation and dialogue. What's noteworthy here is that India has an ambitious geopolitical agenda for 2023 focusing on prioritizing Eurasian connectivity, counterterrorism, and stabilizing Afghanistan. Perhaps one of the most significant benefits for India is that it has leveraged the UN to call Pakistan out on terror activites. India has shared documents with the international community that Pakistan continues to be behind terrorist organizations Lashkar-e-Taiba, Jaish-e-Mohammed, and ISIL-K in Afghanistan. Several UN reports have incorporated this fact and has made the international community well aware of Pakistan's accountability in global terror. India has also been a leading voice on issues such as climate change, disarmament, and human rights, which increases our global leverage and our political capital. It's also been an active participant in the UN, and it's been elected to the Security Council several times as well. Thanks for watching the Core Questions by the Times of India. Be sure to leave your comments below and like and share this video as well. Until next time, this is Priyanka Deo signing off. Namaste.